What's going on, Alabama fans? Chris Daughtry back with you guys here on the Alabama Football Report by Chat Sports. And coming up on today's show, we are talking transfer portal. We are talking roster movements here. Who's staying, who's leaving, and who is going to be visiting Alabama here. Some guys already on campus, some guys expected to be on campus here in the next couple of days. A lot of roster movement going on here for Alabama. Now, I will say this here about the transfer portal as well. As of filming this video right now, 15 Alabama players have already entered the transfer portal, but there's a good chance by the time this video, ends up going out, I assume that as soon as I push this video out, 20 minutes later, maybe even 5 minutes later, there's going to be a new report that comes out. So it's moving very, very quickly. So make sure you guys stay up to date and make sure you are subbed right here at the Alabama Football Report. If, new news comes out over the, next couple hours or whatever after we put this video out, we'll put a shout out for you guys. So, just to keep you up to date there on everything that's happening around the transfer portal. Make sure you're subscribed. We are trying to hit our next goal here on the channel of 37,000 subscribers. We're 406 away right now, but I think we can put a dent in that number on this video right now. So we got free videos for you guys each and every single day here on the channel, so don't miss out. Hit that sub button and stay up to date on the Crimson Tide. All right, let's go ahead and just quickly run through some of the players that we've already talked about here that are entering the transfer portal. Bubba Hampton, back during the season, he left the team. We knew that one was coming. Cam Howard, Roq Montgomery, Richard Young. Jaylen Mbakwe was a little bit of a surprise there, but hey, I'm sure he was making a lot of money. We talked about these guys on our video, our at-home video the other day. Appreciate you guys that ended up watching that one. So I'm sure they're just going to take some of that NIL money that Jaylen Mbakwe was making, give it to somebody else. Joseph Ionata, Jalen Hale, Olaus Alinen, all entering the portal. A lot of offensive linemen right now entering the portal for Alabama. And we'll talk about on the video why I don't think this is really, the biggest surprise, and I don't necessarily think anybody should panic about the offensive line depth right now. You also got a couple more guys who have entered the portal. Noah Carter yesterday entered the portal. Micah DeBose. Cole Adams, man, that was a guy that honestly, I thought he would end up sticking around, but it doesn't really surprise me for real. He really, didn't get on the field that much this year on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously was your main, punt returner this year, but for the most part, all he kind of did was fair catch the ball, so it is what it is there. Really wasn't able to make, any electric plays for Alabama in the return game there. Rico Scott, that one kind of sucks as well, but it is what it is there. And Cam Calhoun, I'm sure Cam Calhoun is going to go somewhere and play. Very unfortunate that he wasn't necessarily able to get on the field that much this year on the defensive side of the ball, but it is what it is, man. You got a lot of young players right now in this secondary on Alabama's defense that are very, very talented, so no real surprise there for Cam Calhoun. If there are two big guys that I think are probably the biggest surprises that entered the transfer portal, you had Wilkin Formby and Keon Keeley enter the portal on yesterday anyways. We'll talk about both these guys a little bit here. First up, Keon Keeley. Look, man, he got an opportunity to play later in the season, was, making some impact plays, and I'll be completely honest, I think he made more impact plays than, Jordan Renaud was doing for you this year, but maybe, he's a guy that, is kind of the same thing as Jaylen Mbakwe there. Former five-star guy, was probably making a lot of money there. That money now gets reallocated somewhere else. So somebody else can make the money that he's making right now. And maybe Alabama just likes what they had there at that bandit spot with Kelby Collins. He played a lot. Jordan Renaud is still there as well. And I wonder what they're going to do with Jamarian Latham. He ended up getting hurt early in the season. Could they get that medical red shirt for a seventh year for Jamarian Latham? He played bandit 2 years ago. He ended up coming back to move over to that wolf spot. Could he get that medical red shirt, that extra year, and then just go right back over there to that bandit spot? That's definitely something that we need to monitor as well. And, I think they also really like what they did in that 2026 recruiting class with guys like Jamarian Matthews, Nolan Wilson, Corey Howard, and others as well. So not necessarily, I think, it does suck that you lose a former five-star guy. I think he was number 2 overall a couple years ago in the 247 Sports Composite rankings, but look, I'm not going to lose sleep over guys entering the transfer portal here. Let's also talk about Wilkin Formby a little bit. Started off at right tackle this year for Alabama, and then they were able to get Michael Carroll kind of, into the starting lineup there. And then he moves inside to right guard. Now, I will also say, I think he played better at right guard than he did at right tackle. Kind of made that move official during the Oklahoma game. Was kind of going back and forth a little bit, but once that Oklahoma game came, it's when he kind of officially moved in there, played the majority of snaps there at that right guard spot. But by all the reports, it sounds like Wilkin Formby really did want to play tackle more than he wanted to play guard. And unfortunately for him, Michael Carroll is younger, and he is just straight up better at that right tackle spot. So it is what it is there. And honestly, man, I think Alabama, like we'll talk about here in just a second, is revamping their offensive line. So it's probably not the biggest loss in the world. As of right now, 9 offensive linemen are gone from this Alabama team this year, whether it's to the transfer portal, whether it's to eligibility. Those guys are being out of eligibility. Parker Brailsford earlier this morning, we put a short out on that. He announced his intention to go off to the NFL draft, and we're still technically waiting on Caden Proctor, but he's going to be a first-round draft pick, so we're just, it's going to be sooner rather than later here for Caden Proctor. He is most likely going to go off to the NFL draft. I would put it at about 99% right now. So you're going to have 10 offensive linemen that were on this team this year who will not be on the team next year. So are you worried about the offensive line depth right now? I think it's fair if you are. You're losing a lot of guys. Let me know. Be honest down inside the comments. Type Y for yes or N for no. Here in just a second, I'm going to tell you why you probably shouldn't panic as much as I think some people are on social media right now about the offensive line. So this is strictly just my opinion right now. I think Alabama is aggressively adjusting right now with their offensive line. It is no secret that in the final few recruiting classes for Nick Saban, they wanted to bulk up. They wanted to get bigger. They wanted to get stronger along the offensive line. And I think when Kalen DeBoer ended up getting hired, they were trying to kind of work through that and work with some of those guys. Until they can get a couple recruiting classes under their belt and kind of match their, offensive line skill set to the system. But I don't know if their vision is necessarily going to work here in the SEC. It's a very, very physical conference. You go in, week in, week out against, some very, very big physical defensive lineman. So I don't know if that's going to necessarily work out, but time's going to tell, and we'll see if that ends up happening. But the offensive line in the run game over the past 2 seasons have not been good enough at all. You know it. I know it. I think they know it as well. And I think what you are seeing right now is, this coaching staff is being aggressive and getting the guys on this team through the transfer portal and through the last 2 recruiting classes as well that are going to fit their vision along the offensive line. And this is kind of what you're looking at right now in terms of the offensive line going into next year. I still technically have Caden Proctor on there because he has not officially announced that he's going off to the NFL draft, but that decision is going to come there. I would assume Jackson Lloyd probably going to play left tackle next year. Saw a lot of William Sanders this year at left guard, so I'm just kind of going to assume that he's going to slide in there as well. Some of those freshmen, though, Casey Poe, is he going to play right guard? Are they going to try to play him at center? He played 8 snaps at right guard this year. That's why I've got him at that right guard spot right there. But the only starter that you're going to have from this year going into next year along the offensive line is Michael Carroll. So, they've got a lot of guys on campus. We'll talk about some of these guys here in just a second who they are bringing on campus and are currently on visits right now. I think they're probably going to have some more guys come on campus here along the offensive line. We'll talk about those guys here in just a second who are visiting out of the transfer portal. But first, we want to give a shout out to the sponsor of our show today. That is Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard, but in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every single night, the action never stops, and Prize Picks lets you take control. You can find your community on Prize Picks with a new social feeds feature. You can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with just a single click. copy lineups you like, or just use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow Prize Picks partners like us and tail or fade our picks with just one click. The professional playoffs are starting right now, so this is what we got cooked up for Saturday's game between the Bears and the Packers. Going to go with a more than on both these guys. Little quarterback, two-pick power play for us, going with Caleb Williams, more than passing yards, and also Jordan Love, more than passing yards as well. We also have a very new and fun feature here on Prize Picks as well that I love that they added here. They now offer early payouts. If your player gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. On Prize Picks, by the way, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose the flex play where you get paid even if one of your picks misses. But if you want the biggest payouts, go with the power play. But no matter how you play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. So download the app today and use promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That link, by the way, down in the comment section and the description of today's show. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Now let's talk about some of the guys who Alabama is hosting here over the next couple of days. Some guys already on campus as well. A lot of guys, and especially the offensive line, because like we said, Alabama is really focusing on the offensive line right now. Currently, 3 guys along the offensive line, names to know that Alabama is going after. Center out of Texas State, you have Brock Riker. Jimothy Lewis out of Mississippi State, an offensive tackle. And Kaden Strayhorn out of Michigan. He's more of a interior offensive lineman right now, so we'll break all 3 of these guys down a little bit right here. We'll start off with Brock Riker out of Texas State. He is playing center at Texas State, or I guess did play center at Texas State, so it makes sense with Parker Brailsford going off to the NFL draft that Alabama is exploring and trying to get another center with some playing experience on this team. And he is a little bit lighter, 6'4", 290 pounds, but that didn't really seem to, impact Parker Brailsford that much. So just another guy that they're trying to get in here. It is reported right now that Alabama has offered him, but I don't know. I haven't seen him as scheduled a visit yet to Alabama, but like we've said, things can move very, very fast. So name to monitor right there with Brock Riker. Jimothy Lewis Jr. out of Mississippi State. He's played offensive tackle at Mississippi State. He is on campus right now. He arrived on Sunday. Former 4-star guy out of that 2024 recruiting cycle. Started 4 games for Mississippi State last season, and he ended up playing in a total of 7 games. Now, he does have a little bit of position flexibility as well. Like I said, he played pretty much only tackle for Mississippi State, but he did bounce around kind of right side, left side as well. On the left side, 260 snaps. On the right side, he played 152 snaps in the last 2 seasons here at Mississippi State. So, with the position, kind of question marks that Alabama has right now along the offensive line, especially at that tackle spot. You got Jackson Lloyd there on the left side, and then it's kind of question marks. You have Michael Carroll on the right side. Who is exactly going to be the, backups, I guess you could say, there at those tackle spots? That is going to be another name to monitor there with Jimothy Lewis there. And then Kaden Strayhorn out of Michigan, interior offensive lineman. By the way, out of IMG Academy, he was teammates with Michael Carroll in that 2025 recruiting class. He was a 3-star. He's going to arrive on campus on Monday morning, so probably already on campus by the time this video ends up going out there. Only ended up playing 2 games last year for Michigan, but he was a freshman, so is what it is there. Played 14 snaps at center, 80 snaps at right guard. So a couple guys that Alabama have already got on campus right now, and we'll continue to keep you guys updated. If Brock Riker actually gets on campus here, we'll update you guys on that as well. So how many offensive linemen will Alabama add via the transfer portal? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. Obviously, right now they're trying to get at least 3 guys. How many more? Maybe 5? I guess we're just going to have to see, but let me know. Get your predictions down inside the comments section. All right, before we get out of here, Alabama does have a couple guys that we have already talked about a little bit here as well that do also have visits lined up with Alabama. You got Devan Thompkins, defensive lineman out of USC. He'll be on Tuesday. Raleek Brown, running back out of Arizona State. Running back is going to be another key position of need. I was watching some of his highlights the other day, and it kind of reminded me of the Longest Yard. They had that scene where he's like, man, they're getting some guys on their team. They got a running back. He's fast. He makes fast people look not fast. Really, that's what Raleek Brown, that's what popped in my head when I was watching his highlights. Kind of the same thing there with Hollywood Smothers. We talked about him, Caleb Woodson, Devan Thompkins in our at-home video the other day. And by the way, it has been reported as well that Coleman out of Auburn will be visiting on Wednesday. So, we'll see if that visit does actually happen. There's still a couple days till Wednesday. So you've seen guys schedule visits and end up canceling visits. But that is the plan as of filming this video right now, that Coleman, and I also saw Bama Online said that Alabama is on the short list right now for Coleman. So we'll see, losing a guy like Jaylen Mbakwe, losing a guy like Keon, Keeley, some money is now opened up to go out and get a guy like Coleman.